Welcome to Crazy Shit in Real Estate, a weekly podcast where I walk you through some of the wildest, most unbelievable stories you'll hear from the world of real estate. If you like real estate and you love crazy, this is the podcast for you. Before we get any further into this episode, I've got some information to share.
Oh, it's true. Real estate is super competitive and harder than you expected. That's why I created Leigh Brown University. It's everything you need to take you from point A to point whatever your goal is. You could be new to the business or a seasoned vet. I'll help you break through to the next level so that your professional life can look exactly like you desire. Enroll in Leigh Brown University today. I'll help you get there.
This was my very first experience with a 1031 exchange, and it was personal. Through the years, my husband and I have bought and sold investment properties, but I had never, until became a realtor, had never investigated 1031 exchanges. Now, we've never made a whole lot of money, so the capital gains had not been a huge factor. So I said, well, you know, I always tell my clients, hey, I've been where you are. I bought, I've sold. So here's one more thing that I can say. I've been where you are. Now, what you need to understand about me and my husband is that we are both very frugal. And so I started checking into it and got names of some local people and started looking at their fees. And I was like, I don't have that much money to roll over, and this is a pretty good chunk of the money that I'm rolling over. So when you don't know what else to do, you Google, right? My husband calls me Ms. Google. So I found someone online who did a 1031 exchange for a fraction of what the local people would do. And the other thing, one of the things that I learned about 1031 exchanges, the IRS likes to put their fingers in things and tell you exactly how things should be done. But I did not know that when you find a qualified intermediary, that sounds like a very fancy term, but basically it's someone who's not disqualified.
I like that. Hey, friends, highlight that. I love that. You made it so simple, Kay. Well done.
So the people who are disqualified is anyone who has been an accountant, a realtor, an attorney, or a title company that you have ever done business with. So the ones who were local were disqualified for me because I had done business with all the ones who were local. Now, what I didn't realize at the time is that it's somewhat unregulated for somebody to put themselves out as a qualified intermediary. And you have to be very careful who you choose. You know, they always say choose someone you know, like, and trust. But the ones I knew, liked, and trust were disqualified for me.
Right.
So I went ahead and I found this person. And as you always say, the names are changed to protect the guilty. Let's call him John. I found John. We had a property that we were selling. Even before we closed on that property, we had identified the property that we were going to purchase. So it's going to be a quick turnover. I engaged him. I never actually talked to him on the phone. There were a couple of emails back and forth, and he had some assistants who sent me all the documentations and everything. And as it came time for our closing, I had been on the phone with them for 2 or 3 days in advance saying, okay, we're closing this time, this place. We got to make sure everything's fine. Well, I go to closing and the title company says, we don't have the money yet. They're on the phone with them. I'm on the phone with them. Long story short, it was the next day before the money appeared. But I breathed a sigh of relief. It was all over. About a month later, I got a letter from an attorney saying that there had been a lawsuit, several lawsuits filed against John, and that it was class action and that we were going to be some of the plaintiffs in the class action if we chose to. He was basically being sued for mishandling of the 1031 exchange funds.
Oh.
And what really brought it to light was about a month after our closing, at 3:00 in the morning, he was found behind a pharmacy that was closed. He was wandering around next to the smoldering remains of his car. His car had exploded. He had burns over 65% of his body. He was taken to the hospital and put into a medically induced coma. And when people started trying to get their closings, the money was not there. So there was well over $6 million of money that should have been there, and there was only about $800,000 there. And nobody in his organization seemed to know where the money was.
Oh, you're enjoying this little clip? Well, the rest of the story is available on any of your podcast apps. Just go search for and subscribe to Crazy Shit in Real Estate with Leigh Brown.